the screen. And Sister Anu, just give me a heads up. I hope we have Dr. Prashant Kakore with us. No?
Not sure. Again, I see Prashant's iPad, but it's not connected with audio. So,
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
yes.
Oh, it's BK Cambridge. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So we'll just rename you. And before I give it to you, I need to introduce you. So just a few more minutes before I give it to you, Dr. Kakore. So thank you so much for being there with us today. And I would like to introduce him. Again, he's very humble and down to earth. He's just sent me 3 paragraphs. I am forced to read all of that because there's nothing much he's sent. So Dr. Kakore, he's presently based in Cambridge, born in India. And he's a doctor by profession, a background in ENT surgery and also integrated health. And for the past 30 years, he has been involved himself in the understanding, practicing and teaching the spiritual and holistic principles of life and health. He's also an avid author, and he has authored a book called The Concept of Total Health, which was presented to various medical institutions, including the WHO as well. And looking at his other aspects, his main interests are in the field of psyche, emotions, behavior, and health. And he himself says that he is still a Rajyogi student at the Brahma Kumaris and also a teacher of meditation. And I mean, he coordinates the activities at Cambridge. And I think all of us know the Sanjeevani retreats, which happen online. Many people have attended that as well. So a big part of the credit goes to him as well for that. And his ideas on consciousness and health have led him to being invited to speak in more than 80 countries. He's also spoken at various medical schools, universities, and even at the United Nations in Geneva. And he, as I mentioned about the Cambridge Center Coordinator activities, he also coordinates the inner space there, which is also present in Cambridge. And as always, before we give it to the guest speaker, a few lines in the form of a poem. So today's guest is joining us from the land of Cambridge, who indeed shall guide us on how to become a spiritual bridge. Let not our attitude be cold as coming out from a fridge, but be a helping hand for everyone across the ridge. Let not our behaviors bite one another like a midge is an insect, so that the distances between us are abridged. On this otherwise very hard journey, let's have the courage that while observing people's behaviors, not to be a judge. Living in harmony with each other indeed, without having a grudge, and helping people to come out from their vices, which act like a sludge. So with this, I would thank indeed a lot to Dr. Prashant Kakore for joining. And the stage is all yours. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj Bhai, and greatly appreciate the invitation. Greatly appreciate coming to Pune. Very special place for us. As was mentioned, our childhood was in Goa, and Pune is very, very dear to us, from Goa. And such a beautiful subject. I was listening to the workshop, and it was very nice to hear different angles, different aspects. Also, feel free to type your comments as we go along. It will not be a talk. I am told it is still a workshop style. Also wanted to request if I can be made a co-host. I might use the whiteboard, but on the iPad that is there, that can be made into a co-host, if
so
possible.
Is Prashant's iPad the same one?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So I was not getting a response from there. So that was you. Okay. So we'll make both of the as co-hosts. I'm sure Sister Anu has made it. Yeah. Thanks.
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. As I was listening to your discussions, reminded me of one incident. And me and another sister from here, Cambridge, we were going to Norwich, which is another town about 70 miles from here. And she was driving, and it was a big car. And normally it doesn't happen in this country that often, but in this case, the car stopped in one of the roads, uphill road. It was raining, cold, and it's a big car. So she tried a few things and it was not working. So I decided I will come out of the car and push the car up the hill. It was a slope there. And it was raining also. And as I knew my ability to push the car and to get a push start to this car. And as soon as I came out of the car, two cars stopped. The people were going past at fast speed, but two cars stopped. Some came out with the jump leads and some big man, and they started the car within minutes, and we reached the destination. It sort of taught me a lesson. If I was sitting inside the car, because it was not possible to push the car up the hill alone in the rain, why would they stop the cars and come and help? But because I took that step, there was immediate help. There is a story, that all of you might have heard. There was a fire in a forest, and all the animals are having meeting what to do about this fire. And they are king of the forest, and they all are thinking what they should do. They are planning. Whilst all this is going on, one bird goes to the river, gets few drops of water, and comes and throws in this fire. And they all say, "Are you mad? What are you doing? This fire is so big, and you have few drops." He said, "No, this is what I can do, and I'm starting this. I'm starting this my work." So that bird was determined. As this happened, meetings are going on. Some other birds join this bird, and as more birds are joining, some animals joined this bird, getting water from the river. Seeing this huge activity, God of rain, decided he should send a cloud there because they all are so determined there. And there was rain and fire was put out. This is like what you are discussing in your meetings. And if you help yourself, you get helped. And it is almost like a law. I know this in myself and I can see it. And with people around me, if they are helping themselves, I feel inspired to take steps. But if someone is hoping that someone will help them, I am not inspired. That is like a nice flow there. In science of happiness studies, they say that those who are able to do good acts, they are happier people. And those who are helping others, in other words, they themselves are happy. They're in this world, if they study, like one study in this science of happiness, psychology department, they can find out what kind of personalities there are in a community. So by some questionnaires, some are givers, some are takers, some are havers. Means their happiness is based on how much they have or what they have. And there are these different types, personality types. Some are robbers also. And who are the happiest? They say givers are the happiest. And regardless of their personal situation, they themselves may be leading a very simple life, maybe difficult life, maybe having problems, but they are happy. This is what they have noticed. And And these researchers, they tell more people should make experiments on this, giving, in different situations, because we all want to be happy. This is like a guaranteed method to be happy. They also say this giving and taking should be outside your circle. We all give, of course, that is going on, but within the circle. So in this research, just as an experiment, we all can decide, let me experiment this just for one day. There's something like this. And what is this? Doing things outside of your circle. And when you do that, there are these magical results. This is the word they use. There is a magical happiness. Magic happens in this. If it is in the circle, it doesn't create magic, because you got some kind of a calculation in the circle. You want to give a cake and you are expecting a bigger cake tomorrow. Some kind of calculation is going on. But when you go beyond that, they find that something else happens. As an example, say you got a chocolate. Normal chance is that good chance that that chocolate will disappear very quickly. You will eat it. In this experiment, don't eat the chocolate. Give it to someone whom you do not know and just walk away. Do not wait to hear what they say. No, just give the chocolate and walk away. Give it to those who don't get chocolates that often. And in this experiment, you are just seeing what you feel inside. And you may find that you feel happy about yourself. 10 minutes later, you might find you are happy. 10 hours later, you might feel you are still happy. Each time you think of that incident, you will feel happiness. If you were to eat the chocolate, it will certainly make you happy, but for 10 seconds. 10 hours later, you won't be happy thinking of it. You might feel guilty. But if you give it away, it makes you happy. You might find it will make you happy even after 10 years. Each time you think of it, there is a good feeling about that act. And all these little things matter. They collect inside us. Now they also say, this chocolate, you are giving the chocolate away. You will get good results if that was the only chocolate you have. It was not a spare chocolate. You will get good results if that was a chocolate that you like. You are not giving away chocolate that you don't like. And you will get good results, even better results, if you are hungry and still you are giving it away, then you will get higher results. There is a connection between some kind of you have to renounce something of yours. Something of you has to go, and that is what brings that reward. You want to say anything? It will be nice. Anything you can type or say. I'll give you some examples of this, giving and happiness. We were in one place, one place, and our center was there, and nearby there was a street where there was lots of litter, and we decided, let us get together and clean this street. The local council, they are not doing anything, but let us, clear this street. So let us meet early morning at 5:30 before our class. So it's about 10, 15 people gathered. They finished the job within 15 minutes. All that was required was an intention. And that street was clean for everyone. No one knew who did that, who cleaned that street. No one got praised, no one got paid. But next day, they had planned to go to another street. Those who did that, they organized amongst themselves, lots of enthusiasm, and they took on another street. In the evening, as I was talking, they said they are planning doing another street tomorrow. And it made me think, what made them do this? Take on another street. But what happens was just this act of selfless giving, you get rewarded at another level. It's a different currency. It is not a gross currency, but it's a more refined currency. And that you cannot buy. That higher happiness you cannot buy with your money. And here is a method, some very effective method with which you can get that higher happiness. And you mentioned also in your workshop, this giving, you don't need to be millionaire in giving. Most people don't need gross things. Just your vision of respect, some words, many things, some simple things. They are of great value for others. Yes, so are there any thoughts? Anyone want to add anything? Or want to any comments?
Maybe Dr. Mehta and Sister Claudia can go ahead and interact with, because Dr. Kakore wants it that way, the facilitation style. Dr. Mehta, over to you. Yeah, thanks.
So nice to see. Hello, Ashok Bhai.
Missed you for last few years.
Yes.
COVID years, and I haven't seen you this year too. Anyway, I think giving is such a pleasure. I still recollect what you said, what you can remember after 10 hours. I remember after 50 years or more than that. I had a patient who had come from a small village in Maharashtra, and she had undergone a major dissection of the esophagus. And in those days, that was a very rare thing to have a dissection of the esophagus. 1961, I was a house surgeon. And I used to go and see her every 2 hours because there was no intensive care in those days. And this was an elderly lady. The surgeon also was slow and took a long time to operate. And then she was going to go home after about 10 days. And we had developed a sort of some kind of a bond between us because I used to see her so often. And before discharge, she said that she had received a note from her granddaughter to bring pencils and rubber in a notebook. And she had nobody except her husband, who was very old and hardly, knowing about the city of Mumbai. So I went, I picked up those books, pencils, rubber, and left it to the sister. I said, look, I don't want to give because we'll both get emotional about it, but when she's leaving, please give it to her. And I still recollect those beautiful feelings that I had even today. And in terms of cost, it was very little, but I think it was a question of helping somebody who probably wouldn't be able to take by from outside. I think that's a great feeling that what you shared now is, I think we have all experienced it throughout our life, especially as doctors. We've been helping a number of people and whom we never know and we may not see again. I think that's a beautiful feeling, and I think you shared it so beautiful. Thank you.
And very, very nice example.
Shanti, good morning from here. Actually, yeah, I have one time I like to see how you say how we share and help others, especially the ones that we do not know. That's bring more happiness than anything. Because yeah, we have like one school that went through many over 20 years, and it start from the first time, the one who did not have much contact with the poor people, gave a ball to a poor kid, and the poor kid smiled. And from that smile, the other one who gave the ball to the soccer ball, who gave to the other one, to the poor people, changed his entire life and start working with the poor people, and they got happiness from that one. So sometimes that's what we say, one act, but not in our circle, but outside our circle, brings
Yes.
a much more happiness than anything. And I like when you talk
Magic.
about,
It brings magic.
yeah, when you were talking, right away I went to that over 30 years ago. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that part.
Thank you, Claudia. I want to bring in another angle, and that is what help. We are doing things. Everyone is doing things, but we all help according to our understanding. Like for example, one time, there was some science conference, and someone fainted. So they called me because there were not many doctors in that area. And what the others were doing, they were all loving that patient, that girl who had fainted. What they were doing that could have harmed her more than if they were not to touch her. It is something like that. They all love and they all wanted to help. But if there is not the right knowledge, we can spoil things. We may not be really useful. And that brings in another angle, and that's where the spirituality comes in. Spirituality helps us see the complete map, and a clear diagnosis. I'll tell you one story, another story, and this story will help us understand the options, the levels that we intervene. And in this story, one insect was on the back of a pig, and this insect finds a patch of mud and says, "Wow, look at this! I found a big land." And it is in a prime location. So the insect is very busy building a fence, claiming the land. So one eagle comes and says, "Do you want to be the eagle? Do you want to come to the sky?" And this insect says, "Sky? What is that? What is that? To be the eagle, what does that mean?" He says, "I will take you beyond these clouds. You will see the sun. I will show you the mountains, valleys, trees, animals. You will see all this. You are not seeing any of those things now. I will also show you the pig. You will see these things. Do you want to become the eagle?" He says, "I like this idea very much, but right now I found this land. I just don't want to just drop it and go. But next week, you come." And as the eagle comes a week later, "Do you want to come to the sky?" He says, "Now I found more land. These are rare opportunities I'm getting. So not a time to go. So next week, eagle comes a week later. Sky, he says, "No, there are some cracks in my land now. And this is not a time. I need help myself here. So how can I just drop and go?" So insect remains there, and eagle is to go to the sky. We were telling this story in one gathering here, gathering of students. And she said, I am at this level of cracks. I'm at the moment fixing the cracks in my life. So I'm at that level. So what should I do? Fix the cracks, go to the sky. What should I be doing? The formula is there is no reason, there is no justification of losing 1 second when it comes to the sky and the eagle. And if you want to fix the cracks afterwards, come as an eagle and fix the cracks. There is no reason to be the insect for 1 second longer. So insect, what it is really telling us, the 2 levels of consciousness that we have. This is the option that human beings have, 2 levels. And 1 level is literally like the insect, busy, in the anthill. Ants are busy, they are full time, but oblivious to the reality of the sky and what else is happening there. But we all are from the sky. This is the message, spiritual message. And we all are so impressed, if for some reason, with the ant world and the land and the prime location of the land, we are so impressed with it that we are stuck to the lower consciousness. If I am to use the whiteboard, and if I am to show this, so what has happened to this race? When we are using the language of the soul, we are a race of angelic souls. And we are immortal. And we are from that family of angelic souls and God. And we are immortal. And our nature, if you are immortal and nothing can harm you, your nature is of joy and love, the permanent nature. And there is a story down below. It may be very, very sophisticated story, a great, very well done, very well performed, but it's a story that is not our world. A bit like the anthill, for the eagles. There may be many things, glitter and gold there, but that is not our world. We may go there as travelers, as guests, mehman, musafir, but we are from the sky. Life of joy, love, and joy, love comes with its friends. This is the reality of each and every one. But what has happened to this? What is the diagnosis at present? Diagnosis is that these invisible travelers are deceived. And when they are deceived, they are gradually getting drawn into this blue box. And they get into bondages, not just drawn, they end up creating bondages in that world down below. They start claiming things, so much so that it gives them sorrow. They take sorrow because of that the world there. They increasingly forget their reality, their world, as if it doesn't even exist for them. And they even lose sight of themselves. Not only they are losing sight of their family, father, but even themselves. They are unconscious. And when they are unconscious, their enemy, which is the ego, is in charge of their mind and life. Ego becomes conscious, their enemy. This is the diagnosis. The real players, the invisible players, the eagle we said we were giving the example eagle and insect. What we are seeing here, the eagle is thinking he is the insect and living in the world of insects and suffering like insect, as happiness of the insect. So it is, ego is like the lowest denomination in our mentality, ego-based life. Ego is the one who is quick at taking offense and quick at giving offense. That kind of life that is going on. And this is the kind of society that is created on the planet Earth. So spiritual message says that this is the diagnosis. Plato uses the expression, don't know that we don't know. Someone is deceived and he doesn't even realize that he is deceived. Here has become a big ant in the ant hill. That is its success. I found this big land and I got some great opportunities here in the ant world, and I have become a big ant. That is its idea of achievements and success. And in such a world, for the eagle to break out of that spell and break out of the spell and discover this dimension beyond is the huge achievement for the self. If we want to help ourselves, we can help at the level of the ant, and give them sticky sugar. That is one help. But you can also help the eagle discover the wings, remind that it has got wings, and help the eagle discover the sky. That is a very different intervention, very different help to the self. If one even gets this idea, it is a very different help. One time someone said, how to start this process? And all that is required is just a hint. This eagle who thinks it is an insect, if he just given a hint, you may be eagle. You don't need proof, no evidence, no science experiment, nothing. You may be eagle, that's all, a hint. Now the eagle has the option to use the wings. That hint has such a power. It can use the wings. It can discover the sky. It can prove that it is the eagle to itself. And then no one can disprove him that you are not an eagle. So just a hint. So here, the big thing, that is where the knowledge of Raj Yoga comes in. That's where the spirituality comes in. Huge emphasis. First, discover the eagle. Discover the sky. Discover the wonder of this reality. Discover your father, that is from the sky. Not just a concept, not just worshipping it in the anthill, but discover your truth, the wonderful truth and that wonderland. And once you have seen this, your intervention for others will also be different. And the others are helping, many in the world are helping, but you will be helping not just as at the other level, you will be helping the eagle to discover the eagle. As we were saying, the diagnosis is that the eagle is deceived. That is the diagnosis. The eagle is thinking it is an insect. That is a story. We will also create some opportunity for experiment. But you would like to add anything? Say anything? Do you like this in the sketches?
It's nice for us to see. I like to ask you one question. How can we help the one who are like an insect to be able to fly again? How can we make without making the other one? Of course, is the one who is like the insect is going to be sensitive. So how can we help without them become sensitive?
Yeah, excellent. In this game, your vision and your attitude is a powerful language. As you said, the language of the words may stop at the ears. Language of words can end up into some kind of confusion or debate. It can be anything. It can even end up into the insect taking offense, because when we have created ego and all this, there are complications are there. Ego may take offense also. Even if you are trying to be helpful, then there can be complication. But language of the soul reaches the soul, and language of the heart reaches the heart. So just your vision, you are very clearly aware that behind all this that is going on, story that is going on, there is the invisible angelic soul. There is the eagle behind all this. There is someone who is very lucky here. You are aware of it. And just the attitude and vision, this language will be heard, will reach the soul. It will start the process. And someone was saying earlier, helpful in the workshop, in the first part, just your respect, your silent vision, your thoughts, all these are having great value in this language, proportionate to how much you are in that conviction. For the one who is conscious, the eagle that is conscious, there is, he knows with conviction what others are, where others are from. If it may start as a theory at some point, but more there is clarity and conviction, then the light goes far.
Thank you.
I like these questions. And any other thoughts anyone would like to add?
I think thank you so much. This diagram is so depictive of what our reality and personality is. There were a few participants who had a little bit of questions on the helpfulness. So I think Sangeeta Kohli, if you want to ask now, your chances now, because we have time as well for questions. You want to unmute and ask? Yeah.
Yeah, Shanti. Many a time, so what I have realized that people come to you uh, to ask for the help in the areas which are going towards the materialistic position in the world, and they are not at all interested in wisdom or getting any enlightenment, how to manage the life, and when we refuse or we are reluctant to help in that way, they become angry, and because they are very close people, relatives or very colleagues, and it sometimes becomes very difficult to what extent we should help them in this area. I hope I'm able to express what I'm asking.
Yes, yes. Yeah, very clear.
I mean, they are not seeking for a real wisdom.
Yes,
They are seeking for they're seeking as if you do my you solve my things, or you do my work, or give me something so that I can possess the things materialistic world. And even when we try to help them, that you learn how to manage the things, they are not at all interested in that. And when they are very close relatives, that becomes very difficult to handle the situations, how to say no, and to what extent we should help, and how to make them understand that there is no end in on this pathway for help. You ultimately have to learn the skills how to manage the life, how to manage the aspirations.
yeah. It is what you mentioned. It is quite clear what you said. And in one sense, the person who is aware of this, he knows that he is happy to help at all levels. Understand? But just that he knows something big secret. He can help at some at a level of the sky. He help the eagle. You know what Manoj Bhai had mentioned earlier. You teach someone to fish, so they don't have to give him the fish. So, it's in the same way here. If they discover the sky and wake up, spiritually wake up, then they are very, very lucky. So you want to give them the best and the highest, and to remain busy at that level. The more you are remaining busy, and at that level, it is not limits. It is not just one person. Your whole world is your family, and so the other answers will come automatically. You know, and if you can still help at the physical level, also why not? You are quite happy. There is a nice saying: if you want some job to be done, give it to the busy person, because busy person is in his speed, he ends up doing other things also. You know, lazy person, he will say he will do it tomorrow, but busy person will do it. So keep yourself busy, you know, in this task, and the small things, small help, big help, you know, it all gets done. Of course, the expectations that you will have to manage, you know, and uh, helping people to reduce expectations for their own benefit, because that way they experience peace. Now let us create some minutes for our experience. Is that okay, you know, Manoj Bhai?
Yes, yes, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, we'll have some experience.
Maybe a few minutes. I will speak few words in line with uh, what we saw, that big map. Let us see it in that context. Wherever we are, we see that our body is comfortable. And we are able to use the best sight and best intellect. We all have it, that's why we can use it. And with this, we see the whole physical world as a story. In 1 second, the game changes completely. With the stone intellect, that same world appears to be everything. That story appears to be so big. Like for the ants, something has become so big. It is their world. So here in 1 second, the whole physical world, we are seeing it as a story. So everything that happened today happened in a story. And everything that happened in the past, a story. Right now, Prashant is here speaking. That is also happening in the story. Now we are able to come beyond the story. Story is not the whole thing. And beyond the story is silence. There is no noise of the story. We come in that silence. And we don't need to think of the story when we are beyond. Beyond the story is reality. We see this world in the image of a sky. World of light. We see this as an expanse of light. World that is timeless. World that exists forever. With our spiritual sight, we see the reality of this. This is not just a meditation. This is our world. This is the home. In this sky are the living stars. This sky is eternal and these living stars are immortal. This is the true family and the true home. Down below is the story. All we have done is use the spiritual sight and see clearly the complete map. This alokik environment favors the true self, favors the soul. Soul becomes conscious. And for the one who is conscious, for him to be like a living star is normal. For him to be immortal, he appears normal. He's conscious. To belong to that supreme sky appears normal. Completely independent from the story, separate from the story, appears normal. Finds it absurd to mix his life with the story. Story is temporary and separate. He sees himself as an invisible player and an invisible traveler in the image of a tiny, tiny star. This appears normal. He understands he needs nothing from the story. Just as no one needs things from a story that appears strange. So he discovers that mind where there are no needs, no desperations, that whole desire of department of desires and begging, that stops. The invisible traveler also knows that he is beyond harm and that the story is harmless. Nothing from anywhere can harm him, even the slightest. Totally beyond harm. Blood and fire, these are all things in the story, cannot harm the invisible traveler. That's why, in a true sense, completely carefree. Independent at all levels. Be completely carefree. He understands he's lucky, very lucky, to be immortal, to be from this world of joy and love. We experience that mind being beyond harm, and to be from the family. All are like this, desireless, sorrowless. Family of God and with God. Discovers he's lucky, he knows everyone is lucky. He knows this silent truth of everyone. And just as he is experiencing this, he as if contributes to the light. It is like lighthouse effect. It's light in this dimension. Just the attention, giving attention to this extraordinary truth that is like creating light. And this is a huge help on a big scale. All he's doing is experiencing the best sight, best intellect. That's all. That's all he has done. And he discovers the wonder of his truth, discovers the greatness of the family of souls. It is like a celebration. All are divine beings, all are noble. Family of souls. And this is the world with God, world of God. That's why lucky, very lucky to have this biggest prize. And every second he's just experiencing it, he contributes to the true benevolence. He benefits at a different level. We also understand now what the intervention of God is. God is benefactor, but benefactor to whom? Does he benefit at the level of ants, or does he benefit at the level of the eagles? We are seeing that at the level of the ants, there is a story. And at that level, there is a script. The real help is helping the eagles discover their truth. God's intervention will be at that level. And every second, we remain conscious. We become helpers in this task. We are able to cooperate in this task. As we continue on our journey in the sky on earth, the invisible traveler knows the immensely beautiful truth of everyone. He sees that truth, he is seeing this truth of others. That is helpfulness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prashant Kakure. So I would request now first Sister Claudia this time to propose the vote of thanks, followed by Dr. Mehta. Over to you, Sister Claudia.
Om Shanti, was quite nice to hear you talk about this story. So then we should not get involved, not our story, but the story of others as well, right? So otherwise we get mixed up and then we cannot fly. So it's a quite good point to always to remember that point. Fly high and then don't get involved with the stories of life. Yeah, thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon. You are coming to Vancouver next month. So everybody's waiting for you to come. So we are having Atam Prakash here now, but we are also think about you coming next month. So it was very nice to have you here. That's preparation for us to know how it's going to be when you come here. So thank you very much.
Dr. Prashant Bhai, it's such a pleasure to listen to you. It takes me back to my several interactions with you, both in London, in Cambridge, in India, in Abu, and I was always wondering that what a beautiful surgeon, a ENT surgeon becoming a spiritual leader, creative. And today's story was a great creative work that you have done. I still remember the time we have spent with you in the center in Cambridge, as well as in the inner space opposite the university. I wish that you come to India and spend some more time with us and tell us when you are coming so we can have some programs with you in Mumbai. I know it's when you come, you prefer to go to Goa for a little longer while. I'm sure that it's a good opportunity. Aren't you coming this year?
Been into India in February.
Oh, you came. Oh, I
Yes,
missed it.
yes. And I very much remember with fondness our early morning walks in Mumbai.
Okay. As I really enjoyed your talk, I think it was a more take us on an eagle's flight. And I think all of us are on that path. So this would help us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. And before we close and take the Sister Anu over to you for the picture, but I'll just share the screen and do the quick announcements because the time is almost getting over now. So as all of you know, that this month is already, we are celebrating the first administrative head whom we fondly called Mama. Her name was Jagdamba Saraswati. So it is her 58th Ascension anniversary, and we celebrate the next Saturday as the day of spiritual wisdom. So we are lucky and we are fortunate that we usually do our workshops and the Values for Life series talks on Saturday. And this time it falls on a Saturday, 24th June. So I think in lieu of that, in her remembrance, we have our next episode, which is very much the quality which she expressed, that is fearlessness. She was an embodiment of fearlessness. So that's the next episode 68. And we are fortunate we have with us a very senior Rajyogi, Dr. Nirmala Didi, who is basically the Joint Chief now of Brahma Kumaris and also who's the director of the Gyan Sarovar Academy for a Better World. And she also looks after the Australasia centers. She's the director of that. And with her would be Sister Suman, who's also one of the senior Raj Yoga teacher at Gyan Sarovar. I'm sure many of you, actually many double foreigners know of this combo, this duo who really do a lot of interaction. Sister Suman has many times interviewed Nirmala Didi. So they'll be there with us the next Saturday. So please join us for that. And as always, the next silence retreat we have, immediately the next day after the episode will be on fearlessness. Again, it is in Mama's remembrance. And as we do the workshop always, we have with us again a very new speaker this time, Sister Nalisha Mehta, who's also into the knowledge since, I must say, when she was a young adult and spent her life almost 15, 20 years, more than that, into Raj Yoga. And she'll be sharing her experiences during the workshop on Saturday, on 1st July. She currently is in Washington, DC and works there. So this is our elegant calendar. As always, we show you all. Sister Kosha prepares it. A big thanks to her. And we'll be sending you all the review materials along with this calendar in the emails. The new participants can please send your emails to us. These are addresses, emails, and the websites as well. And these are our links for the workshops and the Values for Life series episodes. So feel free to listen to the episodes which have happened so far. And with this, I would now request Sister Anu to please take the photograph as always.
Sure. Yeah, I want to thank Dr. Prashant brother too, that discovering my truth will bring that real helpfulness to others. And yeah, eagle journey, as Dr. Mehta mentioned. So thank you so much. That's what we're taking with us, with all the stories you shared beautifully. And yeah, everybody's eager to take the photo. Everybody has opened their videos. Whoever have not, please on your video. So we memorize this moment, like make it a beautiful memory with Dr. Prashant brother. So yes, I got that. Manoj. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Prashant, for your wisdom and for your time. Thanks.
Everyone.
It's a pleasure.